As part of the Quality and Pedagogy Initiative, you are being asked to complete a self-assessment. The outcome of this will be to develop goals that will guide your practice and in turn increase quality in your programs. This all leads to better outcomes for Toronto's children and families. There has been much uncertainty this past year with a focus on health and safety. Now is a good time to focus on quality along with the public health lens and on our journey towards continuous quality improvement. What is a self-assessment? A self-assessment can be used to show us where we most excel and what areas can be further improved. It's an opportunity to celebrate our victories, but to also reflect on our challenges. By now, you are all familiar with the Assessment for Quality Improvement, or the AQI. But do you know how it all started? It was used in the 80s as a self-assessment tool to support center educators in setting goals. Since we began posting the AQI ratings in 2008, we started to see an overall increase in the quality of programs within the City of Toronto. As a result of the pandemic, Toronto Children's Services shifted their capacity building supports in order to put a greater focus on health and safety. We provided individual mentor visits in 2020, which had an overwhelming positive impact on programs, ensuring the enhanced health and safety practices were understood and carried out in ways that worked best for each specific program. So, what are the benefits of using a self-assessment tool? By completing a self-assessment, you will identify your strengths as well as your areas for improvement. It may also point out our biases as well as our preferences, as we may notice that we hold greater importance over certain areas in our program than in others. This process will help you see your programs more objectively, help you be more honest about your areas for improvement, and help you commit to your ongoing continuous professional learning. An added bonus, you can use this process as part of your CPL for your College of Early Childhood Educators registration. You'll also be able to reflect on your practices as an educator through a more objective lens. Now let's talk about how the AQI is broken down. The AQI evaluates three main areas: programming, the physical environment, and educator interactions. The document is divided by sections, domains, and sub-items. You'll be hearing us use these terms on an ongoing basis, so it's important that you understand what they mean. A section is the specific age group of the AQI. The sections of the AQI are infant, toddler, preschool, and before and after. A domain is the specific portion of the document that you will be looking at. For example, Domain 1 in the infant section of the AQI is titled Daily and Visual Schedules. A sub-item refers to the specific item you will be assessing. For example, the first sub-item in the infant section of the AQI is Daily Schedule is not posted. The sub-items are divided into three columns: does not meet expectations, meets expectations, and exceeds expectations. Each sub-item has a desired response of either yes or no. The desired response in the does not meet expectation column is no, where the desired response in the meets and exceeds expectation columns is yes. Now let's go over what you'll need. To complete the self-assessment tool, you will need the Assessment for Quality Improvement Guidelines, which you can find by following the link we provided in our initial meeting. We suggest that you use the guidelines as they offer in-depth information about what exactly you will be looking for, as well as examples. It is important to remember, however, that the examples are not a limited list, but rather a tool to guide you. The guidelines include self-reflective questions as well as the intent of each domain. It's important to read through this information. Because everything we do as educators is grounded in how does learning happen, we also suggest you read through the section called Inspiring Pedagogy, which relates each domain directly to how does learning happen. You'll be using the AQI section that corresponds to your age group. Now that you have everything you need, it's time to jump in and complete your self-assessment. You will need some time to do this, so it's best to discuss with your supervisor a time to complete this over the span of one day. We suggest you do your best to complete the whole assessment, as this will give you the bigger picture of your program when it comes time to develop your goals. In order to be successful, we ask that you complete the self-assessment in the most objective way possible. This can be difficult to do as you will be assessing your own programs. Essentially, you will be reading through each sub-item and comparing it to what you have in your program. Check off yes or no, and do your best not to hold any judgment on the results. Remember, the self-assessment is going to show you where you most excel, as well as what your areas for improvement are. So it's important to be as authentic as possible in order to maximize on this opportunity for self-reflection and your journey on quality improvement. We understand that due to the fact that we are still going through a global pandemic, there may be areas of the self-assessment that you will not be able to complete, as Toronto Public Health has placed restrictions on certain areas to ensure enhanced health and safety practices. We have provided you with an appendix to help guide you through any changes that may be in place. For example, children are not able to serve themselves during meals, so we ask that you mark the sub-item as not applicable. If you have any questions during this process, speak with your supervisor or reach out to the Children's Services Collaborative Team, who are always available to support you. You can also email qualityassurance@toronto.ca. Now that you have completed your self-assessment, you are ready to begin developing your SMART goals. Watch the video all about how to complete your SMART goals next.